Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and to a new episode of our online interview series. Today, we want to talk to Ryan King, the Senior Vice President of Investor Relations and Corporate Development of Calibre Mining. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Very good, Mark. Thanks very much for having us. And look forward to the discussion.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me to have this online interview with you. And all of us are very, very happy about Calibre Mining, about the stock market price now. And so we have lots of information to share to our investors. But before we talk about Calibre Mining, I have another question, or the first question I have is, what are your predictions about the precious metals? What are the predictions about gold for this year?
Yeah, okay, well, great. I mean, everyone likes to know where the price of gold is going. We all think we have a crystal ball and we can forecast the future, which is what we all try to do. But no, I mean, when we look at history, we look at the macroeconomic landscape through history. When we saw the price of gold rise, when we saw the price of gold come down in different economic times, it does help us have a bit of an indication of when we might see the precious metals react positively to macro environment. And I think for the most part, a lot of investors, myself included, were disappointed with the overall outcome of the gold price last year. We started off with a nice bang, up to $2,000 an ounce early in the year, and then quickly petered out and got down to the low 1600s, right? And of course, now we've rebounded again, and it looks quite positive for the year because it does look like inflation has maybe peaked, and possibly, we see a pivot with the different central banks around the world, whereby they're not increasing interest rates too much more. Maybe we see one or two more rate hikes where they really put inflation in a coffin. And then you'll start to see maybe some reductions, maybe even some flat interest rates and then reductions, of course, which would lead to, I think, people exiting the US dollar and maybe going into the precious metals. So I think it's setting up for a very constructive, positive environment for the gold price.
Perfect. That are also our predictions for the gold price. So it sounds very bullish, and yeah, let's see what will happen. But now back to Calibre Mining. So you had an incredible year last year, 2022. You just presented the numbers. So let's talk about the last year. What has happened?
Right, and just as a reminder to the viewers, Calibre is a growth focused mid-tier gold producer in the Americas and US and Central America. We became a gold producer back in 2019, and we have very quickly evolved, and year over year we've seen production growth, most cases organic production growth, and grade-driven production growth out of our assets in Nicaragua.
Perfect. It's very important to stick on all the goals you set in the past, and then you can deliver. That's really important for all the investors, for sure.
Yeah, and when we look at just on this page here that we're sharing, look at some of the exploration highlights and the investment we did into all of the assets. We had some very exciting new discoveries at our smaller operation called Limon, which is our smaller mill. We had a very exciting new discovery at a project we call Pantheon North. And you can see here, some excellent drill intercepts, 66 grams over almost 6 meters, 22 over 5, and 26 grams over 8 meters. And there's a number of intercepts here that I've highlighted, but also not in this presentation. So we've now defined a very attractive new high-grade zone at Pantheon North that was discovered last year. We've delineated it, and also at the end of last year, which is also very exciting, it looks like we've extended it quite significantly, which I'll talk a little bit about. So the exploration investment has been yielding some excellent results. And 2022, we produced 221,000 ounces. 2021, we produced 180,000 ounces. And this year, again, we're guiding for additional growth, almost a 20% production increase over 2022. So we're guiding 250 to 275,000 ounces for the year. So I think this is going to be a very robust year. Again, we're bringing on some of those new high-grade mines feeding into our infrastructure. So looking forward to the year ahead.
Cool. And the high-grade mines are completely in Nicaragua, or where is the growth coming from?
I'm going to just jump around a little bit. So yeah, largely the growth is coming from Nicaragua. That we have a small operating mine at Limon. We also haul material over to Libertad. We've brought on a new high-grade, a higher-grade mine at Pavon. So we initially started at Pavon Norte, which is about 3 to 3.5 gram open pit. And we've now permitted last year Pavon Central, started to build the Pavon Central open pit mine, which comes on in Q1 of this year. And the average reserve grade there is 6.5 grams per ton gold. So a very significant increase in gold grade. And then later this year, we're developing this Eastern Borosi project, which got permitted in the fourth quarter of last year. And so we're bringing that online in Q2 of this year. So that average grade in the open pit is about 6.8 grams per ton gold on average. So exciting to see the higher grades, but yeah, the organic growth is coming from grades in new deposits within the Nicaraguan asset base. So exciting to see.
How many rigs are drilling actually in Nicaragua?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. So we're following up on some exciting exploration at Limon, some at Libertad and Eastern Borosi, and a little bit at Pavon. Right now, I think we've got about 5 or 6 rigs drilling in country. People starting to get back into the operations and drilling again after the Christmas break. And this year, I think we're 60 to 70,000 meters of drilling in Nicaragua. And that's slowly starting to ramp up. Quite a focus at Limon, which I'll talk a little bit about here in the next little while. Actually, we can probably jump to that now, just because given the success, the very recent success we've had there. What we've been pointing out here, Mark, is that on these contacts, you can see a contact here from the bright pink to the yellow. Or in the case over here at this limb, you see a bright pink color and a transitional color to a yellow or an orange. On that contact is where we're finding quartz veins and gold-bearing quartz veins. So if we look over here at the Santa Pancha mine, this is an underground mine that the previous operator, B2 Gold, operated and produced well over 1 million ounces, 1.3 million ounces along this limb, which is about 2 kilometers long. Right, so that's again demonstration that it's along this contact. So when Calibre acquired the assets in Q4 2019, we started to look over here at what we call the Pantheon vein. Right, again, it's on this pink to orange to yellowy contact. And we got in there and we discovered a new ore shoot called Pantheon. And it turns out to be about almost 100,000 ounces at about 7 grams gold. We're already mining that. We've been mining that last year and we're mining that this year. So we kept following along this corridor, and we discovered Pantheon North in May of last year. I mean, the initial results out of there were fantastic. I think the first hole was 18 grams over 8 meters. So it was very exciting to see, and we quickly mobilized rigs and followed up on that. But what's interesting here is this map that we're looking at now is called a VTEM resistivity map. We did not have this information when we started to discover this. We flew this airborne survey in 2021. We analyzed the data. We got the data out in the first half of 2022. So now you see, like, wow, look at this contact, because along this contact here, Tigra, Limon Norte, Limon Central, there's 800 almost 900,000 ounces between current open pit operation resources and reserves and past production. So you can see that's a very prospective contact there. Over here as well, you can see the 1.3 million ounces. We've discovered Pantheon vein, now Pantheon North. and we continue to hit very good grades along there. So the team did some fairly large step outs along this corridor up to 250 kilometers, sorry, up to 2.5 kilometers. I'd like it to be 250 kilometers, but up to 2.5 kilometers along the trend. We hit some great intercepts, 7 grams over 2 meters on one of the first drill holes is unbelievable. This area had never been drilled before. So we've got some assays pending. We had a very, very good hit here, 11.6 grams over 9 meters. That's fantastic. Very near surface. So, there's this demonstrates that this whole corridor here is very prospective, even on the other side here where there's been no drilling at all. So, yeah, we're excited about the potential at Limon to discover new veins. We're also over here at the Talaveras area doing some drilling there. So, when you look at Limon, it's incredible. It's been in production for a very long time. You can see back to the 1940s. And this area, this postage stamp area is produced, between production and current resources and reserves, it's about 5.5 million ounces. This is a world-class, low sulfidation epithermal vein district. So it's pretty exciting to see. And I think we're going to continue to find more deposits here. So this is a unique opportunity, right? Like you look at the area here, if we are successful in additional discovery drilling this year, we're drilling at a number of different concessions in the region. We can successfully bring on new deposits, bring on new satellite mines to feed into our existing infrastructure. So the return on invested capital is very, very high and very accretive. So it's exciting to see. Since, if I go back to Q4 2019, we were sitting at about 300,000 ounces of reserves when we acquired these assets. At the end of 2021, 2022, we had increased grades to 4.6 grams per ton gold, the highest they'd ever been on average on the reserves. And we had increased reserves 250%. So just a little over 1 million ounces of reserves on these properties. So the exploration drilling, the confirmation drilling is being successful. And that's, Mark, after producing, in the excess of 400,000 ounces of gold since at the time, 300,000 ounces of gold since we acquired the asset. So no, it's pretty exciting to see, the work, the investments that have gone into these assets, the organic growth, but also the organic potential when you look at, the success we're having with the drill bit and also the infrastructure that's in place. So there's a lot of room for growth.
Wow,
right? Here's a good example.
That's exactly what I'm looking in my person. So I'm also an investor in your company, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. Such a company who can grow organically, who has multiple chances in order to get the ore, in order to produce gold, and who has the infrastructure, who has the mills in order to do that immediately.
Yeah, and I'm just going to quickly talk about the mill utilization opportunity, right? So we currently use about 50%, right? 50% mill utilization. We will anticipate to be between, if you look at the different colors here, 3 grams, 4 grams, and 5 grams in the bar charts. We're expecting to be somewhere in this range this year, right between 4 and 5, closer to the 5 side this year, going into the Libertad mill. But you can see, look at the incredible torque. I mean, this is a state-of-the-art mill. It doesn't require any capital to get anything online. You've got your regular sustaining capital and maintenance, but you look at 75% or 100% utilization, right? At 4 grams, we're talking about 260,000 ounces at 100% utilization at 4 grams, right? So, here we are this year doing 250 to 275, which includes 40 to 45 out of Nevada. So there's a lot of potential if we were additionally successful with new deposits and bringing them online. And as far as the country goes, we have, again, as an operator, we've been here since Q4 2019. I think we've worked very hard, diligently, and responsibly to get different permits at Limon, open pit mining permits at Pavon, open pit and underground mining permits at Eastern Borosi, additional permits at Libertad, exploration concessions. So we have found it to be a very mining-friendly jurisdiction. It does require quite a bit of work, quite a bit of planning. What's really important, and a number of people have said this before, and I reiterate this, what's very, very important about operating in country and other Central American, Latin American countries is your social license to operate. You know, you've got to really work closely and transparently with communities, and I think that's something that Calibre does exceptionally well. And we will continue to work on that and reinvest in communities, and that's very important to ensure that you see strong social economic benefits with our stakeholders, and we will continue to do that.
Perfect, exactly. But to Nicaragua, I have one more question. Of course, everybody knows it. So late in October last year, there was this ban from the US Treasury Department to Nicaragua maintenance mine departments. And so what was the situation? Of course, you said it in your press releases that it won't affect you, but can you explain it a bit more? So after that, the stock went down to 0.56 Canadian dollars, I guess, but now we are back over $1. So with the chart situation, everything is fine now, but just explain it in a couple of sentences. What happened? How does it affect you? And how's the situation in general?
Good. Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up, Mark. Absolutely. So over the decades and years, there's always been tensions between Central America, particularly Nicaragua and the US. In this instance, an executive order was updated, in which case they talked about a potential additional sanctions coming to individuals or entities within Nicaragua, right? And on the back of that, there was two sanctions that were put in place. One sanction to the General Directorate of Mines, the DGI we call, and another sanction from Treasury and State to another individual. So first of all, that other individual has no impact or involvement at all with Calibre in the operations, so it doesn't impact the operations at all. The General Directorate of Mines, what they do is they're like so we would submit reports on an annual basis, right? We would submit reports to the Ministry of Energy and Mines that also the General Director of Mines would be involved with there. But we have no interaction in terms of contractual relationship with, we have no payment relationship with the General Director of Mines. So in fact, Calibre is 100% compliant on all sanctions. What predominantly what the General Director of Mines does is they oversee small scale artisanal mining within the country, right? So that is a non-transparent section within the country. Calibre, of course, you know, ISTMA and the TSX regulations, et cetera, we are very transparent on everything that we do in terms of payments to production of inside the country as an industrial mining company. So everything is very transparent. And so, you know, there were, of course, sanctions that were focused on an individual and an entity, and US media reported, you know, incorrectly that it impacted all gold mining in the country. And in fact, of course, as evidenced by what we've recently done and what we will continue to do, those sanctions are not impacting our operations, right? Not at all. So that's what happened in October. Great to bring that up and talk about. But you know, Calibre continues to operate without any issues successfully, and I believe will continue to do so successfully without any issues going forward.
Perfect. That's all I want to hear. So very good.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, let's jump around a little bit to our second jurisdiction, Nevada. Right, in the beginning of the year last year, we acquired Fiore Gold, right, a smaller heap leach operation there in the Battle Mountain Eureka Trend. So last year we produced a little over 41,000 ounces out of that asset. We believe there's very good potential within that portfolio, the Gold Rock, the Pan portfolio in Nevada. So we've been doing some drilling there. We've been regularly announcing drill results from both Pan and Gold Rock. You know, this is a snapshot image here of the open pits, and just some sparse drilling highlight results that we've put out throughout the year. And we'll have some new results coming out next week or the week after from some 2022 drilling results that came in at the end of the year and early this year. So yeah, we believe there's good potential to expand resources, make new discoveries on both Pan and Gold Rock properties. So it's exciting to see that potential. And you know, at Gold Rock, the end of last year at Gold Rock, which is it's got a PEA on the project. It actually has a federal permit on the project for an open pit heap leach operation that can actually also process sulfides on the property. And again, that project, the PEA said, you know, demonstrated about 60,000 ounce a year production at around $1,100-$1,200 all-in sustaining costs. And so we've been doing more technical studies on that. We're also working through state permitting on that. But what happened last year was quite exciting. We drilled some very exciting, a little bit deeper holes over at Pan, or sorry, at the south end of Gold Rock. And we hit some great results. 5.5 grams over 3 meters, 6.6 over 6, and a good long intercept 3.2 over 43 meters. So very exciting to see, you know, Carlin style, deeper mineralization that, you know, now we're kind of pausing a little bit to see what this looks like and follow up drilling on some of the deeper zones there at Gold Rock. We hadn't seen these types of grades and widths before at Gold Rock. So this is a pretty exciting development for us. So this year we'll do some more drilling at Gold Rock, of course, at Pan as well, trying to unlock and see what this exploration potential looks like. And again, you know, it's an exciting place to be, exciting growth potential at both properties. So I'm looking forward to the year ahead in Nevada.
Cool. How big is your drill program in Nevada for this year?
This year will be between, I think, 30 and 40,000 meters that we'll drill in Nevada. And of course, you know, the great thing about Calibre is we are self-funding, right? So obviously operating 250 to 275,000 ounces a year, we generate some great operating cash flow, allows us to reinvest back into the assets and discover new areas and invest in exploration, which we believe is, you know, at all of the assets that we have in the portfolio, there's very good potential to expand and find new areas. As we've talked about, Mark, you know, Calibre's continued to execute quarter over quarter. And at the end of Q3, $66.5 million in cash. And we did continue to invest in Pavon and Eastern Borosi in Q4. But you know, we also, of course, had a strong Q4 in terms of production, which actually sets us up really well for the year. You know, as I mentioned before, 20% production growth across the portfolio. So this year, again, driven by higher grades, will be about 250 to 275,000 ounces of production. So really strong operating cash flow to reinvest and self-fund reinvestments back into the assets in terms of exploration and mine development. And, you know, at current gold prices, I believe we'll be in a great position. If we have this price throughout the year, a fantastic cash position. We should be over 100 million in cash on the balance sheet at the end of 2023. Even after, you know, you look at the investments we put back into the company, as I've previously mentioned. And then lots of news flow from our exploration programs throughout the year. You know, I think it's going to be an exciting year following up on some of these new discoveries. And of course, we have all the additional surplus capacity at the Libertad mill. So, you know, if we are successful in any of the newer, earlier stage concessions that we're going to be drilling this year, you know, there's potential that we could bring on more material in the coming years at very low capex because we have 1 million tons of surplus capacity. So, you know, Calibre today trades at a discount to our peers. We didn't touch on that, but in terms of valuation, peers that are trading, you know, in places all over the world, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, US, of course, Australia and Papua New Guinea. So I think we present a very compelling opportunity here. I think that it's going to be a very transformational year for Calibre, particularly in the second half of the year. But at current gold prices, we're going to be generating some very strong operating cash flow and free cash flow.
Wow, that sounds very great. Really, really good, Ryan. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this interesting update. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ryan King, the Senior Vice President of Investor Relations and Corporate Development of Calibre Mining. And you heard it. It's a great opportunity. It's a great investment in order to invest in a gold company who is producing in the US as well as in Nicaragua, has a record production 2022 with over 220,000 ounces of gold. Next year, even better. So the growth rate will be at least 20%. And so with lots of cash in the bank, organic growth, this company looks really, really interesting. If you're not invested yet, have a look. We will keep you posted with all the information you need. If you have questions, come to us and we will deliver it directly to Ryan. It's a great company. Thank you very much, Ryan, for your time. And thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.
Thank you.